So, opening exercise, letter A. It says, I'm going to steal this paper here. In the morning, this is mine, isn't it? Yeah, then I'm not stealing, it's mine anyway. In the morning, Harrison checked the temperature outside to find it was negative 12 degrees Fahrenheit. Later in the afternoon, the temperature...
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. What? There's nothing on it. It's fine. Well, I wanted to make sure. Like, I didn't want to just start teaching him. Like, but you're welcome that I covered up into my arm, because this, people do this kind of stuff and hurt you. And you're like, that's why people get sick. Not you guys, though, covered it up in my arm. So, later in the afternoon, the temperature rose to 12 degrees Fahrenheit. Write an expression representing the temperature change. So, Noah, all I want is you to write an expression of the temperature change. We're going to go around the room. So, where did we start?
12.
Where?
Huh?
Where did we start? You have to read the question again.
Okay.
Where did we start?
At negative 12.
Okay. And then what happened?
The temperature rose to 12.
It rose 12 degrees. So how am I going to show that it's rising 12 degrees?
12.
Okay. So there's my expression showing it's starting at negative 12 and rising 12 degrees. Then it says, what was the afternoon temperature? So, Addie, what was my afternoon temperature?
I got 0.
Yeah, the afternoon temperature was 0 degrees. Because what property is negative 12 plus 12? And it's over there. I saw Weston looking at it. I see the girls looking at it. Anna? Additive what?
Inverse property.
Additive inverse. When we have the number and its opposite, that is the additive inverse. Okay, letter B. Going around. Nevaeh. It says rewrite the subtraction as adding the inverse for the following problem. So, it says 2 minus 2. How would I write 2 minus 2? So it wants it to rewrite that subtraction as an addition problem. So how would I write 2 minus 2 as an addition problem?
2 plus -2.
Good. 2 plus a negative 2. Whoa, wait a minute. So now we're back over at that anchor chart. That looks really similar to what property? Help her. Tell her. Tell her. So Nevaeh, what is it?
Oh, yeah.
The additive what?
Additive inverse.
Additive inverse. So when we have the number and its opposite, it will always give me 0. Okay, so that was letter, that was B, letter I. I. Okay, Kylie, so now it says negative 4 minus a negative 4. How would I rewrite that as an addition problem?
I did -4 plus -4.
Negative 4 plus what?
No, 4.
Plus 4. Good. What does that look like? What property? What were our first two properties? So this was the additive inverse. This was the additive inverse. This is the, additive inverse. So what's negative 4 plus 0?
Plus 0.
Or negative 4 plus 4. Darn it. I gave away the answer. What?
Wait.
If it's additive inverse, we have negative 4 on a number line.
Oh, 0.
Oh, okay, so it would give me 0. The additive inverse property will always give me 0. I, which is 3. Okay, Braden, how am I going to write the difference of 5 and 5?
Maybe since it says the difference, would that be 5 minus 5?
Well, that's the difference. That's good. But the directions say rewrite that subtraction as an addition.
5 plus -5.
There you go. So again, it looks like the additive inverse property. What's that going to give me? Braden?
0.
0. IV, which is 4. Macy, it says G minus G. How would I rewrite that as an addition problem? So it's very similar to this problem here. 5 minus 5 becomes 5 plus a negative 5.
Would you do like positive G plus negative G?
Very good. Positive G plus a negative G. Very good. what happens when I have g plus a negative g? What will that equal?
0.
Yeah, because that's the additive inverse. So now we should get to a question that makes a little bit more sense because I've been saying it over and over and over and over. So, Mr. Irvin, what pattern do you notice from A and all of the things that we did in B?
Use the additive inverse property.
Yeah, we are using the additive inverse. The way that I would say this is if I have an addition problem with a number and its opposite. And you're like, Mr. H, what do you mean? Well, if I have 4, its opposite is negative 4. If I have negative 12, its opposite is 12. A number and its opposite. Then the sum is 0. And in parentheses, I'm going to put what property that is because we've talked about this. It is the additive inverse property. Questions on that? Why did my music stop? Oh man, okay. So now we're on letter D. It just says add or subtract. It doesn't say anything about making it an additive inverse, doesn't say making it an opposite. It just says add or subtract for letter D. Now, please, 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 please don't miss these. Please. So Ryan, you were the last person to ask a question or answer a question, right? Okay, Brooke. Brooke. Here we go, Brooke. 16 plus 0, Brooke.
Let me guess. 16.
16. I had somebody in my first hour goes, who, she was mad already because she didn't have her homework done and she wanted to do it during the warm-up. I'm like, no, we're going to do the warm-up. She was mad. She said, I haven't gotten there. I said, well, read the question. She said, 16 plus 0. I said, okay, so what'd you get? I haven't gotten there. I said, if you read the question, I think you can get it. And then she laughed because she realized that she was being grumpy and it's 16 because anything plus 0 gives me that anything. Let's go to I. Ms. Vavra. It's not your turn yet, Braden. You're so excited. Braden's like, I got this one. We're going to get to you, Braden. Don't worry. Ms. Vavra, it says 0 minus 7. What do you get? You got positive 7. You got negative 7. So when I take a 0 and I'm taking away 7, I'm keeping the number in its sign. Okay. Let's go to I. Or 3. Weston! Oh, no, I'm just joking. Braden, go ahead. So you've got negative 4 plus 0.
It's negative.
Okay, negative 4, right? Good. Weston.
Yeah.
Thanks, Weston.
Yeah.
Good talk. 0 plus D gives me.
D. Wait, did you already?
Perfect. So now we're on V. Okay, Corey. It says, what do you notice in parts I through IV? What's happening here? So we had 16 plus 0, we got 16. 0 minus 7, we got minus 7. Negative 4 plus 0, got negative 4. 0 plus D, we got D. What's happening?
There's all zeros.
Okay, there's all zeros. But what's happening when there's those zeros?
It's just the same number.
Yeah. So, oh man, somebody's singing beautifully. When adding or subtracting with a 0, we keep the original number. Questions? Pretty easy, right? So hopefully you got those warm-ups without a problem. If not, well, now you've got them written down as part of your notes. The key today, and sometimes I like to think that I'm actually good at what I do. So even though this is a review for us, we've really been stressing properties, right? Or distributive property. We've done the distributive property the past couple days. Would everybody agree with that? Well, the first thing that we talked about today was that additive inverse. And if we're looking at that anchor chart over there, it has three properties. It has the additive inverse, has the distributive, and it has one other property. I wonder if we're going to see those today. And it makes me feel good because this was our first lesson before we got into equations, was the properties. So, you're on example 1 now. Okay, so we should be on example 1. So that means you're going to have to flip the page, go to where it says example 1. It says write the sum and then write an equivalent expression by collecting like terms. So letter A I'm going to do for you. It says 2x and negative 2x plus 3. So if I'm writing this as a sum, I'm going to physically write 2x plus a negative 2x plus 3. That is now written as a sum. Can I combine like terms? Izzy, what are my like terms here?
Your like terms are 2x.
And?
Negative 2x.
Oh, well, when I'm adding opposites, what property is that, Brendan? When I'm adding the opposite numbers, what property is that? Main property we've been talking about today. It's written down on your paper if you wrote down everything that I did on the board. So you have to go back to that first page. It's 2 words. So let's go back to that first page. So first page. Actually, it might be on the back side. Flip. Oh, you didn't write it. No, wait. Did you write everything down? No. Oh. Emma, it's the additive inverse. Folks, when I write stuff on the board, I want you writing it down. It's the additive inverse property. So 2x plus a negative 2x really gives me 0. 0 plus 3, what we learned over here, if I add anything with that 0, it just gives me that anything. So here's what you're doing. Do B and C. Read them carefully. So you have to read before you go. You're doing B and C in example 1. You are doing B and C in example 1. Yes, you can talk to your partners. I'm loving some of the conversations I'm hearing as you guys are talking about these opposites. That's wonderful.
Oh, so it's already 2x minus 6. And what's the opposite of 2x? So would it be negative?
plus positive, like, no, plus negative.
Okay, so help me out here. We're going to rewrite these problems. I think we're at Liam. You're going to help me with letter B. So again, the directions say write the sum and then write the equivalent expression by combining like terms. So it might not say that, but I'm paraphrasing. So it says 2x minus 7 and the opposite of 2x. So what am I going to write down? Just as my addition problem. Because that's what sum means.
2x plus.
Well, let's not say plus yet. What's it asking us to write down? What two things?
Negative 7.
So 2x minus 7, and then it says the opposite of 2x. What's the opposite of 2x? So is 2x positive or negative, Liam?
Positive.
What would its opposite be?
Negative.
Oh, so I have 2x minus 7 plus a negative 2x. That's its opposite. Oh, wait a minute. Liam, do you see something in this problem now that is part of one of the properties we've talked about? What? The additive what? Good. 2x and what? Corey, keep your head up, honey. Yeah, and the positive minus 2x. Those are additive inverse. We know 2x plus a negative 2x is 0. So now I have 0 minus 7. This looks very similar to what we got in our warm-up, which is negative 7. Nose trumpets if you got that. If not, you should be writing this down. These are your notes. Letter C. What book? You already know we're going around the room, honey. Oh.
Do you think your pants are black or blue?
Do I think or do I know? They're absolutely blue.
Okay, then me and you are twinning right now.
Huh?
Because I'm wearing blue pants and a gray shirt.
But you don't have gray shoes on.
Okay, but we're still like twinning.
Boom. Awesome.
Come on!
Macy, you're so close to getting that high five, Macy. You're so close.
Maybe next time I'll be prepared and I'll like move my hand.
But I won't move it. I won't move it. Go. There you go.
There we go.
Okay. So, Cole, listen. Cole, you know we got this special bond because you're the man. And my son's name is Cole, which, don't let me down, dude. You ready? That wasn't confident, Cole. It says the opposite of the quantity of 5x minus 1. Take your stuff. The opposite of 5x minus 1. What is the opposite of the quantity of 5x minus 1? So right now, the problem is 5x minus 1 and 5x. What's the opposite of this quantity?
Negative 5x
Good.
plus 1.
Very good. So Cole switched, found the opposites of all of these. Okay? Because positive 5x, the opposite's negative. Negative 1, the opposite's positive. Easy? Then we're still trying to make it the sum, so it's 5x. Emma, as I look here, is there some kind of property that could be happening? Yeah, where?
Negative 5x and positive 5x.
Yeah, negative 5x plus 5x is absolutely additive inverse. That gives me 0 plus 1, which is 1. Questions there? All right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So, exercise 1. For 3 minutes, you are going to work on your own. And then I'm going to give you a timer, and then you're going to work with your shoulder partner. Why don't you move here? And and Macy, why don't you move here just for that? So work on your own for 3 minutes, and then you're going to move in. Ready? Go. just did 3 examples like it. Read them, there's 5 problems. See what you can come up with. We'll be walking around if you need help. So this switch is looking right. What do you think? So there's not just those 2. You're going to have to flip it over because it goes A through E. Okay, it's not just A and B, it's A through E. So you will have to flip that paper over. Can't wait. I get that out of it. Okay, so at this point, get with your shoulder partner and listen, just like rally coaching. I want one person to explain the first one. I want the second person to explain the second one, and so on and so forth. Go. So even if you're not done, go back to
No, you're done there. Your turn.
Good, folks. I'm hearing some great discussion.
And it says,
Did you guys go through all of these? Remember, during rally coaching, you're allowed to help too. One more minute.
So that would be what? It's getting there. Now it's your turn. Make it 4x minus plus 4x, and then you have to make a turn.
The opposite of 4x. 5 plus 4x. So like I said,
yeah. Anyway, so then you do add those, you use 0 because you're opposites. And then you bring down 5 because 0 minus 5 equals negative 4x negative 4x.
Okay, so you've had a good chance to work on these. Last person in the long line of rows, don't think just because you moved that you get out of it. So Kaylee, how would I write letter A as a sum? Because the directions say write at the sum first. So what would I write?
Wait, what?
So we're in exercise 1, the one that we were just going over with our partner. So how would I write letter A in exercise 1?
-4 plus 4b plus 4.
Good. So now can you tell me what I would combine because of y? What am I going to combine?
The 4.
So tell me exactly, like number, sign.
-4 and +4.
Okay, -4 plus 4 is what property? What property are we going to be using if we have -4 plus 4? It is an inverse. It starts with an A. It's over there on that anchor chart. Listen to Emma. Yes. There you go, additive inverse. We know the additive inverse is 0 plus 4b. And then this is the additive identity. Whenever I add anything to 0, I get 4b. Boom. Hit on the head, if you got it. Good. Okay, now I'll take hands. Letter B. What am I writing? Brooke.
3x plus 1 minus 6.
Good. What am I doing?
Okay, so you're going to do 3x and -3x.
Good. Okay, because that's, even though it's 3x minus 3x, I could really rewrite that as 3x plus a -3x. That's the additive inverse
Plus 1
because of the additive identity. Okay. Letter C. Come on, I need hands. Let's go. Go ahead, Brandon.
-4x
Good, because it's the opposite.
plus -5
Good.
plus 4x.
Beautiful, brother. So what am I going to combine?
Like terms which is -4x and +4x.
Beautiful. Gives me?
0.
Because of what? What property? What property?
Additive inverse.
Additive inverse.
Plus -5.
And?
-5.
Perfect. Good job, man. Letter D. Come on. Hands. Come on, I need some new hands. Everybody had the opportunity to do this with their partner. Everybody had a chance to ask questions. Ryan?
It's going to be -10t.
Okay, so let's stop for a second. It says the opposite of -10t. What's the opposite?
Positive 10t.
Okay. Then, plus what?
Plus 1t
Plus 1t.
minus 10t.
Good. So when I look at this, Ryan, I know that I've got a positive 10t and a minus 10t. That's really the additive inverse because that's plus a negative 10t. So that's 0 plus t. Leaves me with 1t. Everybody there with me? Did I skip one? No. Last but not least, this is the toughest one. Or at least I thought it was the toughest one. Addie.
What?
Not what? Yes, Addie. I know I can count on you, Addie. You've got it. Addie, so for letter E, it says the opposite of the quantity -7 minus 4v. What's the opposite of -7 minus 4v?
Positive sign.
And?
4v.
What kind of 4v? Good. Plus a -4v. Okay, keep on going for me.
So you take positive 4v and negative 4v and you do the additive inverse. And
Good.
then you bring 7 down and you have 7.
Good. Which is the additive identity. Questions on these? Okay. Example 2 is shown. Okay, it's just those 5 dots. Does everybody see where example 2 is? It's directly underneath the one we just did. So, do those 5. You may work together, do those 5. If you're wondering where we're at, we're right here on the worksheet. Talking to them. Let them know.
Yeah, you got your
Thank you.
No?
Okay, so some of you I watched do this uber quickly. Some of you I watched do it the way that I'm doing it. Some of you I watch the other person in your group do it and then just write down their answers. But I did hear some good conversations. First off, if I start with 3/4, what is 4/3? What is that? The reciprocal. We are multiplying by the reciprocal. When I multiply across, I multiply my numerators. I multiply my denominators. And I get 12 divided by 12. Well, what is 12 divided by 12? 1. Well, now I've got the whole number 4 multiplied by 1/4. What do I need to do to the whole number of 4, Kylie? Put a 1 in the denominator. Great mathematical language. 4 multiplied by 1 is 4. 1 multiplied by 4 is 4. 4 and 1/4 are what? They start with an R. What are those things? Reciprocals. So that gives me 1. So let's take a look at these. I've got 1/9 by 9. Those are reciprocals, and it just got really cold in here.
Yeah, it really did.
It's really cold. Sorry. Freezing.
So, back to me, please. 1/9 by 9. We are multiplying reciprocals. Still gives me 1. Negative 1/3 multiplied by negative 3. Still multiplying reciprocals. Gives me 1. Negative 6/5 multiplied by negative 5/6 gives me 1. What property are we using when we multiply by reciprocals? Corey, you had your hand up. Multiplicative inverse. So what I would do in example 2 is somewhere next to example 2 I would write down the words multiplicative inverse property, because we have been using the multiplicative inverse property. So again, somewhere near example 2 I would write that down. That means you need to pick up your pencils and write down the multiplicative inverse property. So for letter A, it says the multiplicative inverse of 1/5 and 2x minus 1/5. Well, if it's using the multiplicative inverse, what are we going to do with that 1/5? What are we going to change the 1/5 to so that we're able to multiply it? The reciprocal. So letter A is going to get written as 5 multiplied by 2x minus 1/5. How would we rewrite letter B? How would we rewrite letter B so that we can start to simplify? So look at letter B. What would you have to do, Brooke? Which is? 1/2 multiplied by 2x plus 4. We have to use the reciprocal. So you should have those written down for A and B. Now, what property do we need to use to simplify? Go ahead, Nevada. The distributive property. Go ahead. So we are using the distributive property. So talk it over with the table once you have them. So try to do them on your own, distribute, and then talk them over. Those of you that I talked to about your homework, again, you must have all of the questions done. If you're confused about how to do a question, please ask. If you're like, I don't understand why I have a 0, I will gladly help you, okay? But you have to actually do all of the work to get credit for the work. Okay. Is it? What's the 4 divided by 2? That's all right. You're good. Does that make sense now?
Yeah,
Okay. You're fine. Okay, take a minute, because I want to give you some time on the homework. Take a minute, talk it over with your partners the quicker we get through it. The quicker you get started.
Sometimes you just want to do it.
So, when I write these down, because I'm going to absolutely write them down differently than you are, I assure you, I would write them down the way that I'm doing it, because it makes it a little bit easier to do. So, normally we do this in our head, we multiply 5 by 2x. Well, I'm going to physically write 5 multiplied by 2x. Then I'm going to do that and get 10x. Does everybody agree with that? Now I'm going to take 5 and I'm going to multiply it by negative 1/2. So I have a positive 5 multiplied by a negative, or not 1/2, 1/5. Okay? Well, can I do this the way that it's written? Can I multiply 5 by negative 1/5 the way it's written? What do I need to do, Mason?
You have to put the 5 over the 1 to make the dominant, like
The denominator of 1. Very good. So now I multiply across. Numerator times numerator. 5 multiplied by negative 1 is negative 5. 1 multiplied by 5 is 5. What is negative 5 divided by 5? Nevaeh? Say it. I heard it up front. Negative 1. Because, Nevaeh, negative 5 divided by 5 is negative. And then I get my answer. Double thumbs up if you got that one. Okay? And number 2. So again, we're going to distribute. I'm going to break this down into 2 problems. 1/2 multiplied by 2x. 1/2 multiplied by 4. We've got 2 whole numbers that do not have denominators. So we need to give them their denominators. So that gives me 2x divided by 2. This gives me 4 divided by 2. Can we simplify 2x divided by 2? What is 2x divided by 2, Weston? What is 2x divided by 2? What's 2 divided by 2? Say that. 1. This is the multiplicative inverse, giving me just 1x. What's 4 divided by 2, Braden? Positive 2. So when I multiply 1/2 into this, it leaves me with x plus 2. Questions there? Homework time. So again, you are not doing these in your packet. It's going to be on a separate piece of paper that you can turn in. It's from the problem set. You are doing number 2. A, B, C, D, and E. Number 3, A, C, and D. And number 4, letter F. So, from the problem set, you are doing A, B, C, D, E from number 2, A, C, D in number 3, and F in number 4. You must have them all done. You have about 5 minutes. Rock it out.